Well, hello, my name is Nicholas Bell, and it is my pleasure to speak with director Tinatin Kajrishvili and producer Lasha Khalvashi for their new film, Citizen Saint, which premiered at the Karlovy Vary Film Festival earlier this year. And notably, it is Georgia's official submission in the category of Best International Feature Film at the 96th Academy Awards. So congratulations on all those.
Thank you, Nicholas.
So you two have worked together on all three of Tinatin's films. And it's my understanding that Citizen Saint, you were getting financing for this before her last film, Horizon. So let's walk through the origins of this and your screenwriter, who's a very notable author himself, and where the idea for this film came about.
So it was before pandemic, and it's inspired by the short story named by Amigo, and then it took me long to make it to translate it to the screen, because novel itself, the short story sounded very interesting, but for filming it was very risky to find the way how the statue would come to life and walk among the citizens. But as soon as I came to the mind to shoot all the film in the mining town, then immediately I understood that I could manage. And for a while I was taking time, pausing this writing process, and that's why I shot Horizon and then jumped back and continued working on Citizen Saint.
It strikes me as a film that had this tried to be made by someone decades prior, it would have been banned or suppressed. It's very daring with its subject matter. And I'm wondering, you have a lot of biblical and mythological themes blended in there. And I'm wondering who other literary references or film references might be, because it made me think of all kinds of master auteurs.
Yeah, as it's very common when we touch these kind of themes to have some hints from different, and to have some perspectives or going back in the past, same kind of themes. I can say that I was very much inspired with this biblical and all these mythological archetypes, or something linked to Georgia. For example, I have Madea, dog's name, and we consider that he's the ancestor of Georgians, this woman. So I combined all this.
Well, like Tarkovsky came to mind a lot, as did Bellatar, maybe even Diary of a Country Priest by Bresson, but and also something like The Wicker Man, even this idea of somebody has to be assigned as a sacrifice for the system of faith to work, which I really liked. Madea, so that I thought he is a funny little character, and I assume that she's supposed to be obviously aligned with the father who's mourning his son, who's also, responsible for the death of a child he couldn't care for. I thought that all worked really well. But was Madea always part of the script?
I don't. The dog was, and then we wanted her to be Madea. Yeah, it came immediately, and we wanted also her to be accused in something. So it was, yeah.
And once that, it's hard not to see her. The dog looks guilty. She looks like she feels.
Yes, same like the saint. He's most innocent person among others, but he's finally kind of either accused or.
Speaking of your saint, George Babluani, who's his brother is a notable Georgian filmmaker. Yeah.
Babluani, and George Babluani audience remembers him from film 13 or Tsameti, which was at Sundance, Venice Film Festival. So I love Georgi since then, and I used this opportunity to have him in my film. He spent part of his life in France, and for the Georgian for the Georgian characters, he looks foreigner and a native at the same time. So his visual and his innocent look really helped me to create this character of the Saint.
Yeah, he's looked the same for a while, because I remember seeing him in Christophe Honore's Metamorphosis about a decade ago as well. Let's talk about your other cast members. Georgi, his last name, Bokorishvili,
Kajrishvili,
who I think a lot of people might know from What Do We See When We Look at the Sky recently, who I thought was really good in that. I think he's really great. And also Mari Kitia, who was the lead in Brides.
Yes. Georgi was lead in my second film, Horizon.
Yeah.
Which I shot and premiered in 2018. So these two people are the ones who I trust the most. And after working with them for so long and having this experience, they were the first ones which I picked for this film. And also the old couple who bring the ship. They are from my Bride and from Horizon, and I shoot them in all my films. Yeah, and others. There are some others also which I worked in my previous films, because Citizen Saint was very complicated. We were shooting it during the lockdown, during the restrictions, and I really needed people who I trust and they trust me, and it would be another level for all of us going through this journey of this realistic or difficult story. So yeah, cast was very important for me.
Well, you can't see any of that difficulty on screen at all. I was curious because I learned the mine that you shot at is operational. I guess I'm mostly curious, did the locals have any feelings about the filming or the subject matter even while you were shooting?
These miners working there are you can't astonish them with any filming or they were aware of the subject, but not as deeply. And most of the crew is also among the actors, among the miners. It was a small crew, but we all were equipped and wearing the same uniform as the miners, with helmets and lamps. And so the production designers crew mainly is involved in all this difficult mise-en-scène of taking the cross down or other long shots, which was very difficult for the actors to follow because of these huge tracks acting there and so on. Yeah.
But let me jump in that talking about the miners. So we were working together. So on the one part of the mine, they were doing their job, and another one we were doing. But on the lunchtime, we were sitting together and sharing our food, and so it was like very surreal in one hand and very touchy, because all of us were doing job, and these people are.
They were helping a lot.
Yeah, they were helping a lot. Some of them, like part of them, real miners are and extras, so they were enjoying our company, and they are shooting film as well.
In several ways, it's kind of a departure from your previous two films, both in the look and perhaps the subject matter, but thematically, especially maybe with Brides, and I don't know if it was because of the casting of Mari, but I felt very similar towards my empathy for these people that are kind of married to something that's keeping them stuck somewhere. I'm wondering if that obviously is probably something you're very much attracted to in storytelling, is people that for a choice they almost can't help are letting themselves wallow somewhere.
Maybe I love to create this microcosmos, and I want to have the boundaries, or I'll say to create a small atmosphere where they are stuck. Even on horizon, they all live on an island in a swamp. In Bride, it's his prison, and here I wanted to the factory, an industrial place where we don't see any nature, we just hear the sea or imaginary sea. And I don't want it to see any inhabited areas. So we really tried hard not to have even proper roads there. Yeah, I wanted everything to be reconstructed the way we wished. Yeah, and I wanted them to be stuck, but at the same time, they all can leave. We have the scene when Mari and Saint are kind of, they can leave, they can escape the place, but they come back, and yeah.
They look as if they're living, the final shot of Pasolini's Theorem, it's like they're living in that space, is this wasteland. And it's a dark film, but it's also slightly comedic in a way. There's
from the beginning it was black comedy, but slowly somehow I ended up with a bit of dramatic elements in it. And
yeah, it's very bittersweet, but I really am drawn to that. I like that quite a bit. The limitations of faith is kind of the major theme to me of this, and I don't know if you want to speak to some of the greater themes that you're getting at in Citizen Saint, or in relation to any modern political metaphors or anything.
I wanted somehow. That's why I have a lot of main characters, because I don't want it to have the one line, because we all have our choices, we have our thoughts, and that's why all of my characters carry a different perspective to their life and their choices. They are all in crisis, and I push them to the edge where they have to decide where are the boundaries of death, life, where is the belief, religion. So where is the hope? Do we need to look up and wait for some miracles, or we are the ones who have to see each other and find love between us and not wait for some saints to come and rescue us?
Well, I think one of the most kind of powerful moments is when you have the city officials saying, because we don't know if the saint will speak now that he's kind of in person, but what will work better for us is
yeah, it's all about our choices, which path we choose to find the reason of our life and the reason of hope.
It's a very beautiful looking film, despite the darkness of everything. It's a beautifully shot film. Krum Rodriguez is your cinematographer. Can you talk about working with him? And I've seen some of his previous work, especially in a film called Godless by Relitsa Petrova, which won, I think, Locarno several years ago. And this looks drastically different from that. But talk about approaching it with the monochrome visuals.
I knew that he was great DP, but great professionals are very hard to work with. And I knew that I had very difficult environment, location set, and I was a bit afraid because we didn't know each other before. And I was really astonished that I found this person most calm. We even needed to talk too much. We just went through all the script, all the settings, and he was my eyes and my hands. So it was a great match, and if not him, I don't know what film I would end up. And I'm really happy that whatever idea will come in my mind, he's the one who can just visualize that. So he's a great person, great professional, and really, I'm truly happy to have him for this film.
I mean, if you just see snippets or stills of it, you'd think that you were looking at this classic art house film. I mean, it's just a beautiful palette. It's extraordinary. And this is a question I think I'd love to hear answers from both of you, but I think like in the past decade, Georgian cinema has really made an international impact. Whereas in the 90s or before, you'd have one or two well-known auteurs, but even over the past 5 years, it just seems like there's a proliferation of Georgian cinema. And I'm curious to know if that's because both of you see or have forged more easier opportunities in Georgia.
It is hard to say. Let me start first as a producer. That it's easier opportunities. No, it's not so. It's a small production capacity country, so we have smaller budgets. Really, for foreign partners, it's even less than the micro budgets. But there are a lot of filmmakers who are in love in their profession. It really helps. Please understand me right, because everyone needs to be paid, but people doing their job with less fees, if the budget is not available there, to have been involved in good filmmaking, good cinema.
And another thing is the tradition. We had the gap after the collapse of Soviet Union, but during the Soviet Union, most of Georgian filmmakers were known to the world as Russian filmmakers.
Soviet filmmakers.
Yeah, Russians or Soviets. So there was no difference between us. And so this tradition keeps evolving, or I would say. And the people are very much dedicated to their job. We make very few films. There is a huge competition, a lot of projects, because we have very talented young generation, and out of 50 projects, only 2 get realized, and it's a huge demand. Whenever whoever gets this financing, you understand that you have to prove, you have to do the best, and you have to choose the best crew. And so maybe that's the reason that we have few films, but most of them end up at A-class film festivals. They really represent the best parts of our culture, identity, and we try to somehow have this tradition which we had before, and maybe it's influenced by the Soviet Union, that we had our own way of storytelling, this parable kind of storytelling, because of the censorship, which we had to hide the truth, and we found these very, very nice ways somehow to avoid the censorship and at the same time speak out. So maybe these are the ways of ingredients, and the films you mentioned, they all have this fairy tale kind of parable kind of.
Yeah, having to read between the lines and kind of see the devastation going on underneath. But yeah, and what you both said, that makes a lot of sense. But you know, both of your names I've seen quite a bit. And Lasha, you produced Scary Mother. I think that was also Georgia's. Oscar submission that year, and I think several others. So there, it's, from somebody over here in the States, it's like it seems like there's a lot of visibility, but I guess that makes sense with who gets the financing. Which brings me to close. Since you guys have worked 3 times before, and I know you're always looking forward, do you have anything else that's kind of in the works?
Yeah, we have several projects in mind. It took me quite long to make Citizen Saint. So projects are, so I have several at this moment. But now we are focused on Citizen Saint to have its life. And yeah, other projects will follow very, very soon.
Yeah, I truly believe Tina is one of the most talented directors in Georgia, let's say, at least. And I really believe she can make interesting cinema, and we will be following our cooperation in filmmaking as much as it takes.
Yeah, I mean, you've been working on this film. You were gathering financing as probably what, 2016, 2017. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, long past. The project itself was quite successful, very successful, I would say, because when we were pitching it, we've been selected on La Fabrique on Cannes Film Festival. We won like big industry platform awards, and so on and so forth. So it was quite known. And the moment we decided to start production, the COVID madness started. So we had to postpone it years and another year and another. So we 3 times postponed the film production, even starting pre-production, some building decorations, and then stopping afterwards. And still, yet we have to shoot during the lockdown. So it was like quite complicated, and film production was done not in the city, capital city, but we were traveling on 3 different regional cities, which was also complicated during the lockdown. But happily for us,
Saint protected us.
Yeah, Saint protected.
He did.
And the thing was that the crew became, because we were living like separately, like in lockdown rules. So we've been one group, not communicated with anyone outside of the group. So it creates this kind of family atmosphere in the group, film crew, that when we finish the filming, nobody wants to leave, which is quite strange, because usually everyone runs home. And it was like, they were like really became close friends. And that's what make even in the harsh conditions, because it was really hard, working on the mine, in the mud, the waterfalls, it's darkness, it's danger, but it was still easy and enjoyable because everyone was like a big family.
That's sweet. But again, like, you can't see any of that on screen. The final product is an excellent, beautiful film. I mean,
thank you.
So, and truly one of those films, I think if you're somebody that goes to film festivals, this is exactly the kind of feeling you're looking for when you see something, to experience it, especially on the big screen. I mean, it is a sight to behold. But so thank you very much for your time today, and best wishes going forward, and good luck in all the madness to come in the next several weeks for both of you. But I'm very much looking forward to what you come up with next as well.
Thank you very much, Nicholas.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.